Hello and welcome. Today, we're breaking down a complex and highly charged topic: why US President Donald Trump labeled some white South Africans as refugees. A claim that shocked many and sparked international debate. This story weaves together history, politics, race, and misinformation, making it vital to explore how it all fits together. So, in this video, we'll look at 3 key points. First, what happened in the Oval Office? Second, why President Trump targeted South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, and finally, whether there are hidden forces pushing Trump behind the scenes. Let's start with the context. South Africa is a nation with a painful past, most notably apartheid, the system of racial segregation that ended just a few decades ago. One of the groups central to this history is the Afrikaners, descendants of Dutch settlers who held political and economic power for generations. Though they make up less than 10% of the population today, Afrikaners still own a significant share of the country's farmland and assets. Post-apartheid South Africa has worked to address the deep inequalities created by that system. However, land ownership and economic disparity remain major flashpoints, with many black South Africans still living in poverty while much of the land remains in white hands. Then entered Donald Trump. In a high-profile Oval Office meeting with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, Trump presented so-called evidence of a white genocide targeting Afrikaners. But here's the problem: much of that evidence was false. One image he cited as showing white farmer burials was actually taken in the Democratic Republic of Congo and had nothing to do with South Africa. Another video depicted what he claimed were mass graves, but it turned out to be a temporary memorial site unrelated to actual burials. These falsehoods fueled Trump's claim that Afrikaners were being persecuted and should be offered refugee status in the US, a claim strongly rejected by the South African government and most Afrikaners themselves. What motivates President Trump to focus on this narrative? At its core, it appears to align with a broader political strategy, one that appeals to certain voter demographics, particularly those who feel they're losing cultural or economic ground. By highlighting the idea of white South Africans as victims, Trump taps into anxieties shared by some of his base, especially around themes of displacement, immigration, and perceived reverse discrimination. Framing Afrikaners as refugees under threat not only fits into his broader law and order and anti-globalist messaging, but it also reinforces a worldview in which traditional power structures, often white and Western, are seen as under siege. In doing so, Trump isn't just commenting on South Africa, he's using it as a symbol in a much larger narrative about race, identity, and survival in a rapidly changing world. It's less about South Africa itself and more about what the story allows him to signal politically back home. So, are there hidden influences behind the support for white South Africans? A closer look reveals a network of high-profile individuals, most notably Elon Musk, who played a pivotal role in Trump's re-election campaign, and another prominent South African, Peter Thiel, the former CEO of PayPal. According to Politico Report, Thiel was instrumental in the selection of J.D. Vance as Trump's running mate. With these two powerful South African billionaires in close contact with Trump, it becomes clearer that Trump's apparent concern for white South Africans isn't really about South Africa itself. As mentioned earlier, it's more likely part of a broader political strategy, one that serves domestic narratives and alliances rather than addressing actual conditions on the ground in South Africa. Thanks for watching. If you found this insightful, hit like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. See you soon.